does that mean to you guys? So when I say somebody is, wow, that guy is a real competitor, what does that mean?
Good coaching.
Good coaching, yeah.
Athlete.
Yeah, definitely. So think about it in this way. A competitor is somebody who goes into their game and rather than being anxious and nervous about the fact that they have to compete, you know, they kind of get excited about it. It's something that gets them really pumped up and they're looking forward to it. They're looking forward to the opportunity to test their skill set against somebody else. So a mentally tough athlete is one that goes in ready to compete. A mentally tough athlete pushes through their barriers, any barriers and obstacles that are in their way of their goals. So if we think back to our handling performance setbacks and errors session, for those who were here with us, we talked about a gritty athlete versus a resilient athlete. This is kind of the behaviors that those athletes present. They push through any challenges because they know that their goals are more important than anything that's preventing them from getting there. A mentally tough athlete knows when their brain is telling them something is stressing it out, but it goes a little bit beyond that. A mentally tough athlete knows which signals to ignore, because remember, when we start to feel really stressed out, everything starts to look like a catastrophe and like a really, really bad time. But we also know, excuse me, a mentally tough athlete also knows which signals to actually focus on. So let's think back again to that athlete who's maybe they find themselves losing in their game, in their competition. Their mind might be telling them things. Maybe they're telling themselves that they're not good at their sport. Maybe they're saying really just negative things to themselves and thinking that, you know, they're never ever going to win a competition again. Well, a mentally tough athlete knows that that's not true. That's just their emotions kind of getting the better of them, versus, you know, let's say that same athlete, maybe on a last play, they stepped funny or they threw the ball kind of weird and now something's hurting. Okay, well, now that's definitely a signal we need to focus on. So there's differences there. Again, a mentally tough athlete knows what things to focus on so that they can get past their current their current obstacle to get them to where they want to be. And a mentally tough athlete uses positive and effective self-talk. So we've had this session before as well. I think it was the very first one. Oh, I'm sorry, I have some questions. Liam, you have your hand up.
Okay, so I want to ask if, first of all, Jared Copeland was talking about Alexandra. So is she in here or no?
I'm here.
Yes, I believe so.
Is Alexandra in a class or no?
Is Alexandria here?
Yeah, is Alexandra here from?
Yep,
Alexandria
she's
is here,
here,
yes.
Okay, so Alexandra, is she in this class?
She is.
Yes, in the
Well, I don't see her. I don't see Alexandra in here.
She's here.
I don't see her
Liam,
name.
Liam, do you have a question about the
Did you-
presentation? Because we have a long presentation, so we can't. If you want to talk to Alexandria, you can message her over the private chat. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Liam.
Therese, did you have a question?
I have a question. It's not a question, but it's to do on this topic.
Mhm.
Well, this happened at a curling tournament. This athlete, you know how you mentioned how you get signals saying that you're kind of losing and all that. Well,
Mhm.
she was kind of losing it. We were curling. She was losing. She ended up getting so upset that she started crying. And then the coach came down and said, "Can you please stop? You're making a fool of yourself." She went
Oh.
up to him and told him to, well, I'm not going to say online. She
Wow.
swore at him.
Yeah, and again, so
Which-
that's a
yeah,
yeah,
kind of-
exactly, Therese. So that's a good example
Yeah.
of somebody who, yeah, needs to perhaps practice a little bit more of their mental toughness, because
Yeah.
it seems that she needed the help in that situation.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
sure. Okay,
Like,
well,
I
thank you,
don't blame
Therese.
the person for doing that, but I just would be an example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's power through this because I'm going to show you guys some cool tips and tricks on how to stay mentally tough. Okay, so a few more examples here. A mentally tough athlete is all in. They are present and they stay focused on that moment. So they're not thinking about a really funny episode of Big Bang Theory that they watched before they came to their game, and they're not thinking about that super awesome ice cream sundae that they're going to have after they get home. A mentally tough athlete stays present and focused on the exact moment that they're in game. A mentally tough athlete is focused on the task instead of their emotions. So in Therese's example, her colleague who found herself losing, instead of focusing on the rest of the game, she focused a little bit too much on her emotions, and it really took her out of her game. A mentally tough athlete has an unshakable belief in their ability to achieve their goals. So you guys can sort of see the pattern here. It's all about not letting anything get you down and discourage you from continuing working towards whatever it is you want to achieve. A mentally tough athlete has a fix-it mentality where they adjust and regain control of those emotions when unexpected or uncontrollable things happen. And this is, again, something that we talked about. I believe this was in our attention and focus seminar as well. We talked about what happens. We talked about the avoid it mentality, the avoid it or ignore it mentality versus the fix it mentality, which in this mentality, sorry guys, let me back up. I'm just getting over some few lingering after effects of COVID. So if I start to get a frog in my throat, I do apologize. Let me back up. A fix-it mentality is looking at a problem that you have, and instead of running from it or just trying to ignore it altogether, you take active steps to try and figure out how to resolve it. And a mentally tough athlete, they also push themselves both physically and mentally so that they can improve themselves in both areas. This is something that's not new to anybody who plays sports. We all start off at one skill level, and as we learn new strategies and learn new techniques, we improve. The same thing can be said for practicing your mental toughness.
Sorry to interrupt, Kim. We have another question in chat from Paige. Paige, I'm not necessarily understanding the question, so I wonder if you can clarify. How do you grift with Mental Health Day, and how do you move on from it? Could you explain that a little bit more?
So my Nana, it was her anniversary today, and I just have a hard time dealing with the grief of her passing away. Yeah, so I'm having a hard time mentally and physically dealing with it.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear of her passing, Paige. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That is never an easy thing to deal with. Grief is very interesting because no two people ever grieve in the same way. So there's no right or wrong way to do it, Paige. I would say that the best thing for you to do is to just take your time and do what's best for you. So that might look like, for example, that might be talking about some memories you've had of her, or maybe if she was really good at baking or something like that, maybe practicing a recipe or two that she had. For others, it's just taking some quiet time to reflect by themselves, maybe journal, things like that. So it's really what I would recommend, Paige, is just find what works best for you and let yourself work through your process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it will be fine once I get some sleep tonight and.
I
move
think
on.
that'll be super helpful. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because sleep is one of the key things to building your mental toughness.
Yeah,
Excuse me, everyone. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Becky, you have your hand up.
Yeah, what I find helps me with grief is also doing some self-care.
Definitely.
Whether it's going for a walk, doing word searches, doing crosswords, doing Sudokus, keeping your brain active, and it's also okay to cry. Crying is
100%.
part of healing.
100%.
What helps me is just watching a funny video on YouTube, Netflix, going to see a movie back in the days. But yeah, that's what helps me. Talking to your social worker, working out, crisis situations, talking to your social workers. That's what kind of helps me. If you have a pet at home, pet the pet, cook, bake, yoga. You can do yoga. So that's what helps me.
Or talking to your friends too.
Yep, that's another good one. Snapchat, as long as they're a healthy friend.
Yes, for sure. Thank you,
Jigsaw
Becky.
puzzles.
Yep, that's always fun.
Excellent. Thank you, you guys. Thank you for
Listen to
sharing and helping out
music.
Paige.
Listen to music.
And listen to music. Exactly. Okay, so I'm just going to push on through, you guys. So, building mental toughness. Mentally tough athletes, it's called use a technique called the 4 C's of mental toughness: control, challenge, commitment, and confidence. Oh my gosh. Excuse me, guys. So,
Excuse me.
all right. So the first C, control. Mentally tough athletes know what is in their control, and those are the only things that they focus on. So in a few of our previous presentations, we talked about things that are in and outside of your control, in general, and when you're performing your sport. So what it boils down to is your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are the only things that are within your control. Everything else outside of you, while you can influence it, it's really beyond your control. So things like getting a bad referee call, or the score on the scoreboard, or things like that, or how talented your competition is. Those are things that are not in your control. And so mentally tough athletes, they don't even consider those things. All they focus on is their mindset, their emotions, and their actions. The second C is challenge. Mentally tough athletes see challenges and changes as chances to grow and better themselves, instead of things that will hold them back and hurt their performance. Commitment is the third C. Mentally tough athletes, they stay committed to their goals, and no matter the difficulties. So again, it's just this idea of no matter what the goal is that you have for yourself, and no matter what the little setbacks or challenges that might come with pursuing those goals, mentally tough individuals welcome those challenges. They say, bring it on, I've got this, you're not going to stop me. And the last C is confidence. Mentally tough athletes always keep a strong and positive belief in their self and their abilities to do things. Again, that's that self-efficacy. If you ever see that term anywhere, that's just your own belief in your ability to get things done. And a mentally tough athlete has this unshakable confidence. Not arrogance per se, but they're just genuinely a confident individual that goes into a situation believing that they can do it. Does that make sense? Awesome. Awesome. Yay. Awesome. All right, so we're going to tie in some concepts from a previous presentation. I believe it was our very last one, handling performance setbacks and errors, where we talked about how being a resilient person is really the key to handling those situations. So a mentally tough athlete is a resilient one. For those of you who are actually at that presentation, do you want to share with us what a resilient athlete is, or what you think a resilient athlete is?
Maybe keep pushing.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
Keep trying.
They keep going. Yes, for sure. Alexandria, you have your hand up.
Exercise.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, excellent. So just to recap really quick, you guys, a resilient athlete learns and grows from their past stresses, setbacks, and failures. They see this stress as a challenge rather than a complete roadblock to their progress. They have a high tolerance for their negative emotions. So again, it's that idea that, okay, I can tell that I'm upset, that I'm not feeling my best, but I need to keep going. A resilient athlete has very high self-efficacy. They have a very strong belief in their ability to get things done. They understand that they have control over themselves and that they have choices in regards to what they can feel and how they can behave. They understand that they can control that and that they have the ability to choose. Overall, basically, a resilient athlete makes a situation work for them versus a gritty athlete who just kind of forces themselves through any challenging situation, no matter the cost to themselves. So between the two, for long-term benefits to yourself, you want to be more of a resilient athlete than a gritty one. A resilient athlete always chooses optimism. They choose to go into any game time situation, any practice situation, any situation in general, really, with the belief that it's going to be okay. It's going to be good for them. It's going to turn out the way they want it to turn out. So there's actually a very neat way that professional athletes measure their resiliency. It's called the Connor-Davidson Resilience Scale, and it's the only specific measure that is utilized in sports today. It consists of 10 questions, and it's answered on a scale of how much you agree with that question, from it's not true at all to it's true nearly all the time. The higher your score, the more resilient you are. So what I would really like to do right now is a very quick activity with everyone. So if you'd like to participate, that's great. If not, totally understandable. For those of you that would, absolutely, of course you can. Yes, for sure. So if you'd like to measure your own resiliency score, take out a piece of paper and just write the numbers down one side, 1 to 10. You can write down the scale as well if you'd like, if that'll help you. And if you would like to use a calculator, that's cool too.
No, you pay. It's in the right way.
Can I get a pen?
Everyone, this is optional. So if you don't want to participate, that's fine. You can just watch and follow along. It's just a fun little activity as well. So, but if you're not interested and you don't want to do it, that's okay as well.
You said 1 to 10?
Yes, 1 to 10, correct.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay. Are you guys, for those of you that are joining, I'm going to go through each question one at a time. Don't worry, you'll be able to see them on the screen as well. Okay. Okay. So Question 1, I can adapt when changes occur. How much do you agree with that question? Is it true all the time or never true at all? Kind of in between. I can adapt when changes occur.
Where's the scale, the numbers?
I
Oh, did
think
you
it's
need the
true.
scale? Sorry. Let me go back one slide. So this is the scale that you can use. 0 being not true at all. It doesn't apply to me. Sometimes this is me. Sorry, this is rarely me. Sometimes this is me. Number 3 is it's often true to me, or this is true almost all the time. So 1 through 4, 0 to 4, excuse me. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes,
I'm writing this down as well. Can we go back?
sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Thank you. And how much do I have to go into a 4 or 10?
Well, okay, so there's only going to be 10 questions, and then you answer each question based on this scale here. So this is going to be, so you either answer, if you find that the question doesn't apply to you, then you put like a 0 or a 1. But if you feel like, oh no, that's definitely sounds like me, you put something closer to a 3 or a 4. And if it's somewhere in the middle, drop a 2 in there. Okay.
Let me get caught up first.
No, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so that first
I got
question
2
again.
questions here.
Yeah, that's no problem. So
I'm not
question
done.
number 1 is, I can adapt when changes occur. Question number 2, I can deal with whatever comes my way. Is that sort of true? Not true at all?
What does that question mean?
So this question number 2, I can deal with whatever comes my way. It means that you go into any situation thinking, that's all right, whatever happens, I'm going to deal with it. Good, bad, anything in between, whatever comes my way, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to be okay.
With the flow?
Yeah, exactly. Go with the flow. I'm going to go with the flow, whatever comes my way. Is that very true? Not true at all? So write down whatever number you think applies to you.
Like say if you're in soccer and the weather says it's going to rain, but when you get there, it snows, you know, that's one,
Yeah, exactly.
one example.
Exactly.
Kimberly,
Yes.
what does flow mean?
Flow?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very excellent question. So to go with the flow means that, you know, you don't get too, let me see how I can describe this. Going with the flow means that you're so comfortable with any, it's a good question.
Like you can adjust.
Yeah,
I know how to say that. Like go with the flow means like expecting any changes. So like if I showed up at a ski trail for my cross country ski competition, and 1 minute the weather was good, but it wasn't, like, you know, the trail can be icy, it can be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So like you go into a situation, anything, with certain expectations, you know, like perfect example. I'm going to go to the beach this weekend and I'm expecting it to be perfectly sunny out, and I'm going to swim, and then I'm going to have a nice cold drink, and then we're going to chill out for a bit and then come home. But then you get there and it turns out, oh no, the sun's not out. Maybe there's no space for you to sit, But despite all that, you're just going to go with it and make the day work for you. Does that make sense? That's going with the flow. You don't get upset when stuff doesn't go your way. You don't get too overly excited when something surprising happens. You just embrace it and keep on going.
Yeah, Kimberly, you're very funny.
Oh, thank you. I
You're
try.
welcome.
Because like the
try.
weather doesn't always cooperate. Like if you say, like you said, I'm like, oh, I want to go out for my walk. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I think it's going to be nice that you plan it. And then obviously sometimes you have to adapt your routine because then maybe it's raining and now you got to wait and then change it to a different activity.
Exactly. Okay, let's push through this, you guys. We got a little bit more content to get through, but we're going to do it. All right, question number 3. I try to see the funny side of things when I'm faced with a problem. I try to see the funny side of things when I'm faced with problems.
Like when
It's a
you
good
hit
one.
your funny bone, it's not funny, but it's humorous.
There you go. Okay, question number 4. Having to cope with stress can make me stronger. Interesting question. Having to cope with stress or having to deal with stress can make me stronger. Do you agree with that question? Do you not agree with it? Write down whatever number you think that applies.
Do you disagree?
You can disagree for sure. Yeah, of course you can. If that doesn't sound like something that is true to you, then yeah, absolutely.
So if you
So the
disagree,
first two
Maria,
questions
you had
are
a
false.
0 or a 1, and if you
A
agree,
0 or
you
a
had
1.
a 3 or a 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just watching, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no worries. Question number 5. I tend to bounce back after illnesses, injuries, or other setbacks and hardships.
When you get older, that doesn't count.
It depends. Well, again, that depends on how mentally tough you are.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
that means? I tended to bounce back after illness, injury, and other hardships.
So when you do, if you've ever had an injury or have been sick or faced any other kind of problem that sets you back from your goal, whatever it may be, you tend to get back to your 100% pretty easily. So
Like
you're sick, you know
mental
what I mean? So
well-being.
you're sick for a couple of days and then, oh, you know what? It's been 2 days. I feel so much better now.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So if that sounds like something that's true to you, you give yourself a higher number. If it's not very true, you give yourself a lower number.
Positive mindset.
Exactly. Okay. Question number 6. I believe I can achieve my goals even if there are obstacles. Question number 7. Under pressure, I stay focused and I think clearly. Question number 8. I am not easily upset or discouraged when I fail. So I am not easily upset by failure.
Discouraged.
Discouraged, yes. All right. Question number 9. I think of myself as a strong person when dealing with life's challenges and difficulties. And the last question, I can handle unpleasant or painful feelings like sadness, fear, and anger. That's a good question.
What is that?
Okay.
Yes.
So everyone's got their answers. Should be a possible score. What did I say? The scale was out of 4. So 40 points is the highest possible score. So if your score was a little bit closer to 40, you're a pretty resilient person. If it's maybe below 20, if it's 20 or lower, maybe there are some areas that you can work on to help build your mental toughness and your resiliency.
How do you figure out the score? I don't understand that.
Add it up on a calculator, maybe that would help.
Oh, you just add up the numbers of
Add up the
what-
numbers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, guys. Yes. So once you've answered the last question, just add up the numbers for each question that you gave yourself, and whatever your possible score. It's a score out of a possible 40 points.
8, 12, 16, 17.
I can't do mental math anymore.
That's all right. No problem.
That's
That's
one
no
kind
worries.
of thing I can't do.
Yeah.
I just counted on my fingers.
Yeah, no
Good
worries.
job.
9, 30, 1 to 2,
I'm
So
having a
yeah, if
problem
you
right
guys,
now.
4. Okay, 34.
I can't do that when everybody's counting at the same time. I'm trying to count.
It's like everybody yelling bingo at the same time.
no worries. So the
Kim,
goal of this exercise, you guys, was just so for you to see how resilient you are at this very moment. You can obviously take this test as many times as you want and just see from maybe day to day or month to month how your mental toughness and your resilience fluctuates. Just a great way to kind of see for yourself where you're at in your journey.
Kim, I believe Marissa had a question. She had her hand up for a minute there.
I apologize, Marissa. You had a question for us?
I got 27.
27. Okay. All right. That's not so bad, actually. You're kind of in the middle of the pack. So that to me says that, you know, for the most part, you're a pretty mentally tough person, but there are certain scenarios that, like everyone else, it gets the better of us. Very good. Thanks for sharing.
I got 35.
That's a heck of a score there, Therese. Good. Well done.
I don't understand this. What do I do
Lisa, you have
here?
your hand up. Did you want to share your score?
Yeah, I got 34. What am I?
34 out of a possible 40 points. It's a pretty
That's
mentally
great.
tough athlete right there.
I got 40.
A perfect 40, my goodness. That's excellent. Well, thank you for participating in this one, you guys. Yeah, again, just kind of keep in mind whatever your score is right now, it just because it is what it is just in this moment. You can take that again at any point and you might find that it changes. Nothing wrong with that. We're all humans and we're all growing and developing every single day.
Excuse
So
me?
if yes,
I don't know how to
Damn
do this. So right now I got at least 30.
30. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
That's good.
that is good. Therese, you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. How can you use mental toughness while you're at home dealing with COVID?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. So that really depends on how you are experiencing the COVID pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I know some people, you know, are a little bit more shy by nature. So being at home and being kind of on their own isn't that bad for them. But it depends on how you've been experiencing the COVID pandemic. Again, I would just say that it's something at the end of the day, COVID-19 is something that is beyond all of our control. Nobody asked for this, but it is something that we all have to work through. And so again, it's not really something you can control. So I would say it's not something that should really be taking up a lot of your energy and your attention during the day. Does that make sense, Therese?
Yeah. What I do is when I deal, like, we're always up here because in our building, there's people that have COVID
Mhm.
and we can't go out. And even going out it's
It's a
impossible.
challenge for sure.
Exactly. So I do the walking in the hall and I do drawing, I do my puzzles and stuff. So
That's excellent. You've
Yeah.
adapted. You found a way. That to me demonstrates resiliency. There were obstacles that got in your way of doing what you like to do on a daily basis. And instead of forcing yourself through that situation, you made changes and you found a way to make this situation work for you. That's
and
excellent.
our fitness room is closed, so I do the exercises up here. So
Excellent. That's great, Therese. Thank you. Okay, guys, a few tips and tricks for you before I send you on your way this evening. The biggest tip I can give you for being mentally tough: be in control and choose positivity. When I say be in control, what I mean is really take a look at yourself and look at how your thoughts are working at any particular moment. make sure that no matter what that emotion is, what those thoughts are, they are ones that you are controlling. They're ones that you aren't letting get the best of you. And always, always choose positivity. Positivity is one of those great things, is one of the greatest things that can really help you stay mentally tough. There's absolutely no part of our brains physically that forces us to think bad thoughts. That's our choice. What we think and ultimately how we behave is our choice. So when things start to feel tough, just choose to believe in yourself. Believe that even though the situation you're in might not be what you want, you as a person, as an athlete, are going to get through it.
Good generalizing. Are you muted?
The second tip, don't be afraid of changes or challenges. And we've talked about this a couple of times throughout this presentation. Changes and challenges are an inevitable part of life and of sports. So rather than trying to avoid them, it's best to just look at them as opportunities for you to grow and to improve yourself. So ask yourself, are you the same athlete that you were the very first year you decided to play your respective sport? Well, of course you're not. Just as you learn new skills as you got older and played more of your sport, the challenges you face will help you to keep getting better. Number 3. Tip number 3, remember to rest and recharge. So shout out to my my attendee who was talking about getting her New Year's resolution being getting a good night's sleep. Paige, thank you very much. Yes, very, very good New Year's resolution, Paige, because sleep and resting and recovery are super, super important to your overall mental health. Our minds and our bodies just perform better when we are well rested and our batteries feel recharged. You work really hard when you're competing, when you're training, and just living day to day. It takes a lot out of us. So just remember to give yourself time to relax and to recover. Take that personal time to really make sure that you are okay as a person. Okay, so just to wrap up really quick, you guys. Mental toughness is something that you have, but it's also something that you can practice. It's a mindset that helps athletes to stay positively focused on their goals, even in the face of challenges. Mentally tough athletes use the 4 C's of mental toughness when they're faced with those challenges: control, challenge, commitment, and confidence. A mentally tough athlete is a resilient athlete, and a resilient athlete is one that makes the situation work for them, no matter the situation. So, to be mentally tough, remember to be in control and choose positivity. Don't be afraid of challenges or changes, and then rest, take breaks, and recharge. So, I have included a lovely handout, which I believe you guys will have access to print off and keep on you wherever you'd like. It's just a nice little chart that re-explains the 4 C's of mental toughness. So it'll give you a brief description, and then the second column gives you an idea of how to practice that component. So for example, control, like we've discussed, is the ability to handle a lot of things all at once and then remain calm and in control rather than feel like you're being controlled by those feelings and emotions. And a great way to practice this is training in the presence of distractions. So this is actually neat. I've seen, so for example, I've seen hockey teams practice on the ice, and they have like fan noise being pumped into the arena to make it seem like they're playing in a live game. And this helps them to practice tuning all that out and staying focused on the game.
That's what I struggle with, that control right there.
Yeah, for sure,
And
right?
easily not get distracted.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like
Can you
when you
send-
hear a band. Like when you hear a band, but you're trying to play what you're trying to play, but everybody else, you hear the sound, but it's like trying to block out the sound. That's what I struggle with.
Yep.
Sometimes
That's a
I-
pretty common one. Mhm.
Sometimes I go bowling and when they have the cosmic bowling on, I don't
Mhm.
like it, but it's good practice for when you have bowling competitions because it's similar, like noisy and like chaotic.
Yeah, the cosmic bowling, that's when they turn all the lights off, right? And it's kind of like
Yeah.
in the dark. Yeah, yeah, that's an excellent example of training under distractions to really help you practice maintaining control. So again, this chart will be included for you guys as like a separate attachment that if you'd like to print off and to have, you can absolutely do that. But aside from that, that's really all I had for you guys this evening. But I do understand that there is a code I was meant to include for you guys. Jared, could you please help me out?
The code is performance, and I added it to the chat already.
Thank
so
you.
you can add that to your weekly tracker when you're talking with your house captains. And then as to the sheet, I got a couple questions. I will be posting the sheet to the Facebook group, so you'll be able to download it from there. It probably won't be up until tomorrow, but you can keep your eye out for that, and it'll be posted to the Facebook group. Okay.
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 Does
Thank
anybody
you.
have any last minute questions or comments they'd like to share?
No?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jared.
Thank
Therese,
you.
do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I do. Can you send that to us? What you were
the-
talking.
The table?
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
So we're going to include that for you guys on the Facebook page, and you'll be able to download it from there and all of that fun stuff.
Okay.
It might not be this
I do
evening,
not-
but definitely by tomorrow, we should have that up and running for you guys.
Jared,
I have a question.
I just have
Paige,
a
yes.
quick question.
Yes.
Can someone add me to the Facebook group? Like when you guys do that? Or-
Paige, if you go to Facebook and you search for Reveal Your Champion 2022, you can request to join. That's going to be a
Okay.
lot easier than us finding you on Facebook.
All right.
add budget too.
So I'll post that in chat.
I add budget too. Kim.
Oops, sorry,
Oh, okay.
that's Jericho, give me 1 second. So that's the Facebook group. So if you search on Facebook for Reveal Your Champion 2022, that will bring you to the Facebook group.
Okay.
It's a private group, so you'll have to ask to join, and then you'll be added whenever they look at it. It could be later tonight, it could be tomorrow, okay? But that's where you have to go to do that.
Okay, thanks.
excuse me.
I
Oh.
add budget. Kim.
Oh, sorry. Yes, my goodness. Who is speaking?
That's
I'm sorry.
Alexandria.
Alexandria. Hi, Alexandria.
I
What can I do for you?
I want to talk with Jerry.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes,
say that again?
Alexandria.
I live with my KASSY.
With
Oh,
Cassie.
Cassie.
With Cassie.
Yeah, I did live with prayer for her.
Okay. That's appreciated. I know that some people have been having a rough time, so that's very kind of you to be thinking of those people going through that rough time, Alexandria.
I'm saying
Well,
goodbye just for now.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
Hey,
for
Melissa.
now, Melissa.
Thank you.
Becky,
Bye,
if you still have
Paige.
questions, you can stick around. It's not a
Bye.
problem.
Jericho
So-
has a question.
Jericho, and we'll go Jericho, and then I see Becky, you have your hand raised too, but we'll start with Jericho and then we'll go to Becky, okay?
Thank you.
Jericho, what's your question?
Um, I have the code up here. This correct?
That is correct. Yes.
But I just want to make sure.
Yes. That's
Yes,
great,
thank
Jericho.
you.
That is the
Okay,
code
thank
to get your 50 big points for attending tonight.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Uh,
All right. So Becky and then Liam, I see you have your hand raised. We'll come to you after Becky, okay?
Thank you.
Kim, I just have a question. Have you heard EFT as a good coping mechanism for the mental toughness?
EFT.
Emotional freedom tapping.
Yes, I have. Oh my gosh, that I have. I haven't, to be honest with you, Becky, I haven't seen it in quite some time since I studied in school, but that is actually an incredibly effective technique to help.
I've been just starting to do it. I've been really starting to do it. You know, it grounds you, like, you know, without taking medication. It's another technique that kind of like changes the way you think, changes just everything. So I
Yes.
want to hear your thoughts on that.
I actually didn't realize that I myself practice that as a form of coping. Mine is a little bit, it's not a very same as the technique described. What I kind of do is I like to touch my fingers to my thumb, and I kind of just run back and forth, but I do both hands, and I didn't even
Oh, wow.
realize I did it until the other day. But it is, you're right. It's something else for your mind to kind of focus on, to just slow the racing thoughts. So yeah, if you guys want to give that a try, I do encourage EFT. That's a great one, Becky. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh,
We had Liam still with your hand up.
oh, sorry, Liam. Yes.
So speaking about last night here, first of all, what's the passcode today, mister?
The passcode was performance. I added it to the chat.
Okay, well, first of all, I did not see that.
Okay, I'll add it to the chat again.
Awesome. And then one other thing about yesterday. Yesterday I'm been having a problem trying to, during a middle class, I was making a mask yesterday, and now I end up making some mistakes. So I want to know if Alexandra can talk to me about some stuff, if she's available.
Yeah, I would reach out to your house captain and talk to your house captain about what to do about that. Okay, your house captain knows everything that's going on, and they can help you with those types of things. Okay, Liam?
Okay, and I was paying attention to the class yesterday about how to make masks. And then the next thing is, I ripped half of it right now.
Me
I don't know
too,
how to
buddy.
fix
It's
it,
okay.
so-
It
Yeah,
happens.
It's all right. Perhaps you can use some tape, or you can use it as a template to make a new one. So lots of different options for you, but that was a fun activity for yesterday, for a little bit of a social activity. No issues if it was ripped.
Monday mingle.
So,
Jerry,
Teresa,
Thanks.
or Therese, you have
Yes.
your hand raised.
I would just like to say thank you to both you and Kim. This is my first time in this session, and I learned a
Thank
whole
you.
lot. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, positivity is, you know, out, is in. Negativity's out.
I really appreciate the opportunity to share these sessions with you guys, just because I think in light of the pandemic and everything, people are starting to recognize just how important mental health really is. And especially now in the sporting world, because I think this is one of the very few things that's seriously impacted like professional level sport, and has also just trickled down to all levels of sport participation. And so I really feel that these kind of topics and this subject matter are going to be very, very helpful and effective for not only people transitioning back into sports, but maybe for those who are thinking about joining, you know? So I really appreciate you guys attending, and the positive feedback has been great. So thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Jericho. I hope we do this
Thank you,
again.
Therese. We have one session per month, so we have
Yes.
another session coming up in February.
Yes.
Thank you.
Kim,
Hi, Alexandria. Yes.
Jerry, thank you so much. I like joining with some people on the Zoom. Thank you so much, Kim and Jerry. Thank you very so much.
You're so
Please.
welcome. You're so welcome.
Kim, how much do you charge per hour?
To be perfectly honest, that is something I haven't thought about very succinctly yet.
You should do it because, you know, like I have like social workers and I have occupational therapists, but everybody's in such need of this positivity like flowing. Do you know what I
You're so
mean?
right.
I have a coach, I have a respite worker, I have a social worker, I have a PSW, I have OT, PT. But you know what? It just takes more thought and process. Like none of them, not maybe 90% of them don't have what you have.
Oh,
You know, it
I
would make the
appreciate-
world a better place just if you had more of you.
That is definitely one of my big ultimate goals, Becky. I appreciate you saying that. To be perfectly honest, the reason I haven't started charging for my services yet is because I am actually pretty new to the field. I graduated back in April of last year, and so I'm still flexing my wings a little bit as a mental performance consultant. So I'm taking on a lot of opportunities like these to talk to
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
guys and to practice being a professional, I guess, is what that's my New Year's resolution, is to help
That's
work on
awesome
my
because you're well
professional.
needed.
Thank
You're
you,
well
Becky.
needed. Maybe 25% of the staff that come to me, you know, some of them have good days and bad days, and that's okay. But it's having that experience and having those good days and bad days. It's okay to have those good days and bad days, but you know what? In all the end, we're human. That's what we gotta
Absolutely.
think.
Exactly.
Sorry,
You nailed it.
I'm gonna leave now because I gotta do tea
Bye,
for my mom.
everyone. Have a good night.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
If you guys need to go, please do. It was nice to meet you guys. Bye. Have a good night.
Hey Kim, so
Bye.
what is your background? Are you like a social worker or like what is your job role? Like, are you a mental health
Yeah.
worker
So
or like a social worker? Or like, what's your background? I'm interested to know.
yeah, definitely. So my degree, I have a master's degree in sports and performance psychology. And so what that allows me to do is to practice under the title of mental performance consultant. I'm not a registered psychologist or psychiatrist because that's a completely different degree.
Yeah.
And it also means that I can't prescribe medications or make diagnoses. That's a completely different field. My profession leans towards more of the counseling side of things, maybe more coaching actually. If you
Right.
had to compare me to a therapist or a coach, I lean more towards the coaching side of things right now. But maybe someday I might go back to school and learn how to treat, like diagnose people and maybe help them that way.
Mhm.
But
There's
for right
such
now,
need for that.
yeah,
There's
but
such
for right
need for
now, I
that.
really just want to work with athletes to help them understand that, while sports are a good part of it is physical, a huge part of it is mental. And
The mental capacity. Like, I can't do this. I'm in a wheelchair. But you know what? Some days I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get up and try my hardest. And if that's all I could do today, that's I tried. And I just got to keep coaching myself. I got this.